Two people, same Tuesday morning, same problem. Derek and Marcus both drive 12-year-old sedans with just over 130,000 miles on the odometer. And both cars just failed inspection with the exact same diagnosis: a transmission on its way out. Repair estimate right around $1,800. Same car, same mileage, same repair bill, same income, same starting point. Derek looks at that $1,800 number and thinks, why throw good money after bad? Time for something new. Marcus looks at that same number and thinks, $1,800 is a lot cheaper than a car payment. 6 years from now, one of them will have spent roughly $40,000 more than the other to solve the exact same problem. The wild part is, for the first 18 months, it's not even close who looks like they made the smarter call, and it's not the person you'd expect. Let's set the scene properly. Derek is 34, works in sales, makes about $70,000 a year, and he's tired of white-knuckling it on the highway, wondering if today's the day the transmission finally gives out completely. He drives to the dealership that Saturday, trades in the old sedan for about $2,000, and drives home in a brand new midsize SUV. Marcus is 33, works in healthcare administration, makes about the same income, and he's stubborn about it. He takes the car to an independent mechanic, pays the $1,800, and keeps driving the same 12-year-old sedan he's had since grad school. On paper, Derek made the emotionally satisfying choice: new car smell, backup camera, a warranty that covers everything for the next 3 years. Marcus made the boring choice: same beige interior, same rattle in the door, same check engine light that comes on sometimes for no reason. Here's where the actual numbers start. According to Experian's State of the Automotive Finance Market report, for the first quarter of 2026, the average buyer financing a new car is borrowing $43,925 at an average interest rate of 6.39% over a loan term stretching around 69 months. That's 5 years and 9 months. Derek's loan looks almost exactly like that average. He puts the $2,000 trade-in toward the down payment, finances about $42,000, and locks in a rate of 6.8% because his credit is good but not excellent. His monthly payment comes out to $743 a month. Marcus, meanwhile, writes one check for $1,800 and is done. No monthly payment, no interest, no 6-year commitment. For the first few months, Derek is having the time of his life. The SUV has adaptive cruise control. It has a warranty that covers basically anything that could go wrong. He's not thinking about transmissions anymore. He's thinking about how nice it is not to think about his car at all. Marcus's car still makes that same rattle. The air conditioning takes a minute to get cold. He's driving the exact same vehicle he was driving in college, just with a freshly rebuilt transmission. If you stopped the story right here at month 3, and asked 100 people which of these two made the better financial decision, most of them would say Derek, without hesitation. New, reliable, covered by warranty. What's not to like? This is exactly the moment where the story usually gets told wrong, because everyone stops watching before the real math shows up. Fast forward to month 18, and the numbers start telling a different story. Derek has made 18 payments of $743, which totals $13,374 paid so far, and because of how amortization works on auto loans, more than $4,000 of that has gone straight to interest, not principal. He still owes close to $34,000 on the loan. On top of the payment, his car insurance has gone up substantially because insuring a $43,000 SUV costs meaningfully more than insuring a paid-off 12-year-old sedan. His premium jumped by about $840 a year, or $70 a month, the moment he swapped vehicles. Marcus, in that same 18 months, has spent basically nothing extra. His insurance premium didn't change because the car's value didn't change. His only new expense was a $310 brake job in month 11, which is a completely normal maintenance cost for a car with over 130,000 miles on it. This is the point in the story where we need to actually unpack the hidden costs of the obvious choice, because they're bigger than most people realize, and they rarely show up in the sticker price conversation. According to AAA's Your Driving Costs study, the average total cost of owning and operating a new vehicle, not just the loan payment, but insurance, fuel, maintenance, depreciation, taxes, and fees combined, runs about $11,500 to $77 a year, or roughly $965 a month. Depreciation alone is the single biggest line item in that number. A new vehicle typically loses somewhere around 20% of its value in the first year alone, and by year 3, it's lost close to 40%. Derek's $43,000 SUV is, on paper, already worth maybe $27,000 by the time he's made 18 payments, meaning he's paid off roughly $9,000 of loan principal, but the car itself has shed nearly $16,000 in value. That gap between what you owe and what the car is worth is called being underwater on a loan. And with average new car loan terms stretching close to 6 years now, more buyers are sitting in that gap longer than ever before. Here's a concrete framework you can actually use for your own version of this decision. Take whatever repair estimate you've been quoted and compare it not to the price of a new car, but to 12 months of that car's total ownership cost, loan payment, insurance increase, and taxes and fees combined. If the repair is less than about 15% of that 12-month number, the math almost always favors fixing it, even if the repair feels big in the moment. Derek's $1,800 transmission repair was less than 4% of what he ended up spending on his new SUV in the first year alone. That's the number nobody shows you at the dealership. There's also a debt market backdrop that makes this decision riskier than it would have been a few years ago. Auto loan performance has been quietly deteriorating across the country. According to the New York Fed's household debt data, 5.6% of outstanding auto loan balances were 90 or more days delinquent in the first quarter of 2026, the highest level recorded since 2003. That's not a small statistic. It means more Americans than at any point in the last 2 decades are financing vehicles they end up unable to keep up with. Used car loans carry even steeper rates right now. Experian puts the average used car loan rate at 11.43% in the same quarter, nearly double the new car average. So even the cheaper option of buying a slightly newer used car instead of a brand new one isn't the discount it used to be. The financing environment right now genuinely punishes borrowing for a car in a way it didn't 5 or 6 years ago. And that's a big part of why this comparison has gotten sharper. Now, let's get to month 36, 3 years in, because this is where the systematic, boring choice starts to show its real advantage. Marcus's total spending over 3 years. The original $1,800 transmission repair, plus routine maintenance that's run about $900 a year, according to typical repair shop data for a vehicle in the 12 to 15-year age range. Oil changes, brakes, a battery, a set of tires, around month 30. That's roughly $4,500 total over 3 years. All in, no interest, no depreciation loss, because he's not planning to sell a car he already owns outright. Derek, over that same 3 years, has paid $26,748 in loan payments, of which about $7,900 was interest. His insurance has cost an extra $2,500 above what Marcus's has cumulatively, and the SUV itself, by industry depreciation curves, is now worth somewhere around $24,000 to $26,000 against a remaining loan balance of roughly $19,000. So he does have positive equity finally, but it took 3 full years to get there, and he's paid out more than $29,000 in that time to arrive at owning an asset worth $25,000. It's worth pausing here to give Derek his due, because his choice isn't irrational, it's just more expensive, and expensive isn't the same as wrong. There are real, legitimate advantages to what he did. His SUV came with a manufacturer's bumper-to-bumper warranty covering the first 3 years or 36,000 miles, meaning he genuinely has spent $0 on unexpected repairs in that window. No risk of a surprise $2,000 engine problem showing up on a random Tuesday. Marcus, by contrast, is one bad diagnosis away from another repair bill. Cars in the 12 to 15-year range have meaningfully higher odds of a major failure. Things like a full transmission replacement or an engine issue, and according to industry claims data, an engine replacement alone averages around $7,600. Derek also gets better safety features, better fuel efficiency in some cases, and simply less day-to-day stress about reliability, which has real value even if it's harder to put a number on. If Marcus's car needs a second major repair in year 4, The gap between these two strategies narrows fast, but statistically, that's not usually how it plays out because average maintenance costs actually follow a fairly predictable curve. Vehicles between 4 and 7 years old typically run somewhere around $700 to $900 a year in combined maintenance and repairs. Vehicles past the 10-year mark run higher, often $1,000 to $1,400 a year, but even at the high end of that range, it's still a fraction of a $743 monthly car payment. RepairPal's industry data puts the average annual repair shop spend at $936 per vehicle, and AAA's more comprehensive figure, which includes tires and wear items, comes in around $1,424. Even if Marcus hits that higher number every single year for the next 3 years, he's still spending less in a year on his whole car than Derek spends in 2 months on just his loan payment. So here's where the 6-year mark lands, because that's the length of Derek's original loan term and the natural endpoint of this comparison. Derek will have paid a total of roughly $53,000 over those 6 years just in loan payments, plus an estimated extra $5,000 in higher insurance costs compared to what he would have paid on a paid-off older car, for a combined outlay north of $58,000. At the end of it, he owns the SUV outright, and it's worth something, probably in the $18,000 to $20,000 range, given typical 6-year depreciation curves that leave a vehicle around 40 to 45% of its original value. Marcus, over that same 6 years, will have spent an estimated $9,000 to $11,000 total on maintenance and repairs for his aging sedan, assuming no catastrophic failure. And even if he does hit one major repair somewhere in there, an engine or transmission at $4,000 to $7,000, his 6-year total still lands somewhere between $13,000 and $18,000. That's a gap of roughly $40,000 to $45,000 in total spending between the two of them over 6 years, for two people who started with the identical problem on the identical Tuesday morning. That gap is the real headline. $40,000 is a fully funded emergency fund. It's a meaningful down payment on a house. It's years of maxed out Roth IRA contributions. And the difference didn't come from Marcus being a financial genius. It came from him simply not converting a $1,800 problem into a 6-year, 5-figure commitment. Now, the fair caveat: because this channel isn't in the business of pretending one choice is a villain and the other's a hero. Marcus's strategy only works if the car cooperates. If his 12-year-old sedan needs a second major repair in year 2, a new engine on top of the transmission, say, his total cost picture changes fast, and there's a real point at which continuing to repair an aging vehicle stops making financial sense. The common rule of thumb mechanics and consumer groups use is this: if a single repair estimate exceeds 50% of the car's current market value, or if you're facing multiple major repairs within the same 12-month window, that's usually the signal to stop repairing and start shopping. Marcus's transmission repair at $1,800 against a car worth maybe $4,000 to $5,000 on the used market sat right around the edge of that threshold. Reasonable to fix, but he'd be right to reconsider if something else major came up soon after. Derek's choice also isn't reckless. A new car with a full warranty is a legitimately lower stress option for anyone who can't absorb a surprise 4-figure repair bill. And for some people, that predictability is worth paying for. The actual lesson here isn't always fix the old car. It's run the 12-month comparison before you decide every single time a repair bill shows up. Take the number on that repair estimate, then add up what a replacement vehicle would actually cost you over the next 12 months, the loan payment times 12, plus the realistic insurance increase, plus taxes and registration fees. Compare those two totals side by side before you let the emotional pull of something new make the decision for you. If you want to run this yourself this week, pull your current insurance quote, call your agent for a quote on the replacement vehicle you're considering, and get an actual loan rate quote based on your real credit score rather than the advertised rate, because the gap between advertised rates and what you actually qualify for can be 2 or 3 full percentage points, and that gap alone can be worth thousands over a 6-year loan. So the next time your car throws a check engine light and your gut says, Time for something new? Ask yourself honestly, is this decision worth $40,000 to you? Sometimes the answer is yes, but you should at least know the number before you decide.